attacked by the NRA for allegedly saying last year that there is, quote, no such thing as a law-abiding gun owner.
I did not say that. It was taken out of context. I was giving a talk at an NYU history class, and I was talking to Scott Bach, who's the National Rifle Association board director. And we were talking about gun laws in New York State, and mentioning that he said that you have to keep guns out. You have to arm people because there are a lot of evil people around. This is the NRA argument. And my point was that everyone who has a gun, before they commit a crime, of course, are by definition law-abiding. And you can be law-abiding and still lose your temper and in a domestic violence situation. You can have an unintentional shooting incident. You can be like George Zimmerman, who was so-called law-abiding before he shot Trayvon Martin, an unarmed, defenseless black man. So the point is that our society is awash in guns. That's one of the problems. Is there are guns almost for every single person in this country, 300 million. The United States has 30% of the population of comparable OECD countries, and we have 90% of the gun homicides.
And to add to that point, Sheriff Clarke, Michael Bloomberg has said very often, we are the only industrialized country that has this problem in the whole world, the only one. You know, there's approximately 350 million firearms owned by over 100 million Americans in this country. Why is this happening here? Why are kids getting shot up unintentionally?
Is it the price of freedom?
Because of behavior. All right, we're talking about somebody who would take a firearm.
Kids are curious.
Somebody who would take a firearm and use it against a human being, not in an accidental shooting, but in an intentional act, is a behavior problem. It's a firearms problem. And I'll go back to the fact that the overwhelming majority of those 100 million people who may own guns, I've heard 100, anywhere up to 150 million gun owners in the United States.
It's actually 32% of all American households.
Would never
it's been falling since the 1970s.
Take that firearm and use it against another human being to take property,
so
to
comparing the United States to other countries, do Americans behave differently to the rest of the world? Is there something pathologically wrong here? Is there a psychosis? Is that the issue?
The problem is there are too many guns.
I will point to John Lott did a recent study.
Oh my God, he's so discredited.
John Lott did a recent study.
You've got to be kidding me.
And in the UK, when they went to a total handgun ban, within the 8 years following that, homicides went up 50% with a total handgun ban.
That is
Why
wrong.
is that? Why is that? It's because the criminal is always going to find a way around the law, no matter how tight you make it. All this does is frustrates law-abiding people. And the criminal perpetrator is still going to have access to a gun come hell or high water, through a straw purchase, through a theft, through a burglary, through a black market.
So let's
and if
try
you think
not to
that
keep
people
them out of
on the
their hands,
black market
let's
are going to conduct background checks, well, then we're pretty naive here.
Okay, quick response from Leah before we take.
Well, the NRA has consistently, well, before they were for background checks, now they're against them. So you have to ask, why are they against something that would prevent guns from getting into the wrong hands?
We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more coming up. We're joined by a Democratic member of the Florida House of Representatives who wants guns on campus.